Hello, food lovers, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today, we are taking a trip to the Philippines to cook up one of its most beloved dishes, Filipino beef steak, also known as Bistek Tagalog. This dish is an absolute flavor explosion, savory, tangy, and incredibly satisfying, the best part. It's surprisingly simple to make. It is a classic that proves you don't need a complicated recipe to create something truly spectacular. Whether you're a seasoned cook or just starting your culinary journey, this is a dish you'll want to add to your repertoire. So let's get our ingredients ready and dive into the wonderful world of Filipino cuisine. First things first, let's talk about our star ingredient, the beef. For this recipe, I'm using about 4 pounds of New York strip steak. This cut is fantastic because it's tender and has a beautiful beefy flavor. If you can't find New York strip, sirloin, or even tenderloin would work wonderfully. The key is to slice it very thinly, about a quarter of an inch thick. You can ask your butcher to do this for you to save some time, or you can pop the steak in the freezer for about 15 to 20 minutes. This will firm it up and make it much easier to slice thinly and evenly at home. A sharp knife is your best friend here. Getting those thin slices is crucial because it allows the marinade to penetrate deeply and ensures the beef cooks up quickly and stays incredibly tender. Now for the heart and soul of bistek, the marinade. This is where all the magic happens. It's a simple yet powerful combination of flavors. We'll start with the juice of one large lemon. Freshly squeezed is always best. It brings a brightness that you just can't get from a bottle. To that, we'll add 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. I prefer using a standard Filipino soy sauce for authenticity, but any good quality soy sauce will do. Next, we'll balance out the saltiness and tang with 1 teaspoon of white sugar. It won't make the dish sweet, but it will create a beautiful harmony of flavors. Finally, season it with a good pinch of salt and freshly cracked black pepper to your taste. Whisk all of these ingredients together in a small bowl until the sugar is dissolved. This simple mixture is the secret to that classic bistek flavor. Let's bring the beef and marinade together. Place your thinly sliced beef into a large bowl. Now pour that beautiful marinade we just made all over the beef. Don't be shy, get in there with your hands or a pair of tongs and toss everything together to make sure every single piece of beef is well coated. We want that flavor to seep into every nook and cranny. Once it's all mixed, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Stir it in until it's fully incorporated. The cornstarch serves a dual purpose here. It helps to tenderize the meat even further, and it will help create a slightly thicker, richer sauce when we cook it later. It's a little trick that makes a big difference in the final texture of the dish. Now comes the hardest part of the recipe, waiting. Cover the bowl with plastic wrap or a lid and pop it into the refrigerator. You'll want to let it marinate for at least 1 hour. This gives the lemon juice and soy sauce time to work their magic, tenderizing the beef and infusing it with that signature savory and citrusy flavor. If you have more time, I highly recommend letting it marinate for longer, even overnight. The longer it marinates, the more flavorful and tender your beef steak will become. Trust me, your patience will be rewarded with a truly melt in your mouth experience. This is the perfect make-ahead step for a busy weeknight dinner. While our beef is marinating, let's prepare our other key components. Bistek wouldn't be complete without a generous amount of onions. We'll need 1 large onion. You can use a yellow or white onion. Both work well. We're going to slice it into rings. I like my onion rings to be about a quarter-inch thick, substantial enough to hold their shape but thin enough to cook down and become sweet and tender. Simply slice off the ends, cut the onion in half, and then slice it crosswise to create those beautiful half-moon rings. We'll also need 2 cloves of garlic, which we'll just chop finely. These aromatics are essential. The sweet caramelized onions are the perfect finishing touch and a classic element of authentic bistek. Alright, our beef is marinated and ready to go. It's time to cook. Heat about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in a large skillet or wok over medium-high heat. You want the pan to be nice and hot. Before adding the beef, we need to remove the slices from the marinade. Let any excess liquid drip off. It's important to save that leftover marinade, so don't throw it away. We'll use it later to create our sauce. We're going to cook the beef in batches to avoid overcrowding the pan. If you put too much beef in at once, it will steam instead of sear, and we want that beautiful brown crust. Let's get the first batch in. Carefully lay the beef slices in a single layer in the hot skillet. You should hear a satisfying sizzle. That's the sound of flavor being created. We're going to cook them for just 2 to 4 minutes per side. Since the slices are so thin, they cook very quickly. You are looking for them to be nicely browned on the outside, but still reddish pink and juicy on the inside. Overcooking is the enemy of tender beef, so keep a close eye on it. Once the first batch is done, transfer the cooked beef to a serving platter and repeat the process with the remaining slices, adding a bit more oil to the pan if needed. With all the beef beautifully cooked and resting on the platter, it's time to finish our dish with those glorious onions. In the same skillet, you might see some brown bits stuck to the bottom. That's pure flavor, so don't clean it out. If the pan is dry, add about 3 tablespoons of olive oil and set the heat to medium. Add your sliced onions and the chopped garlic to the skillet. Cook and stir them for about 5 to 7 minutes. We want the onions to become soft, translucent, and slightly golden brown around the edges. As they cook, they'll release their natural sweetness, which will perfectly complement the savory beef. The aroma in your kitchen right now should be absolutely incredible. Now for the final touch that brings everything together. Remember that leftover marinade we saved? Pour it into the skillet with the onions and garlic. Bring it to a simmer and let it cook for a minute or two. As it heats up, the cornstarch we added earlier will activate, and the sauce will thicken slightly into a beautiful glossy glaze. Use your spatula to scrape up any of those flavorful brown bits from the bottom of the pan. This deglazing step incorporates all that concentrated beefy goodness back into our sauce. This sauce is liquid gold, packed with all the flavors from the marinade and the beef. It's time to assemble our masterpiece. Take the pan with the beautiful caramelized onions and the savory sauce off the heat. Then simply spoon this incredible mixture all over the cooked beef slices on your serving platter. Make sure to drape those sweet onions over the top. The visual contrast of the dark, rich beef and the golden onions is just stunning. Let the dish rest for a couple of minutes to allow the flavors to meld together. Filipino beef steak is traditionally served warm with a side of fluffy, steamed white rice. The rice is the perfect vessel to soak up all that delicious sauce. You can also garnish with some fresh parsley or green onions for a pop of color if you like. And there you have it, a spectacular plate of homemade Filipino beef steak, or bistek. It's tender, juicy, and bursting with a perfect balance of savory, tangy, and sweet flavors. This recipe is a true testament to the beauty of simple, well-executed cooking. It is a comforting meal that is perfect for a family dinner or for impressing your guests. I really hope you give this recipe a try and fall in love with it just as much as I have. Thank you so much for joining me in the kitchen today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more delicious recipes. Happy cooking, and I'll see you in the next video.